Number 1 is Fallen Aces. Switchblade City wears thick ink lines and cigarette ash on its every corner, and the style matters because every system in this immersive sim rests upon it. Fallen Aces comes from a tiny two-person team with new blood behind the publishing, and it plays like a pulp magazine where you plan the headline by how you enter the room. Stealth is valued here. It's no gimmick. Darkness reduces how far guards notice you. Footsteps and scuffles travel through corridors, meaning that timing of a takedown can change the whole patrol pattern. The melee is weighty with breakable objects, so you size up whatever looks sturdy, save your bullets for the moments that need them, and treat every shot like a dame you love. Levels shaped to your curiosity as opposed to a single linear route, with vents, balconies, and service doors letting you choose whether to ghost a wing or stage a messy brawl that you clean up afterward. The comic framing sets the tempo between scenes, and the voiceover keeps the noir attitude without slipping into parody. It carries itself proudly as a focused toolbox that trusts players to experiment and trust that the best outcome might arrive from a plan that sounded bad until it somehow worked out. What makes this game stand out is how improvisation stays valuable from start to finish, and how the environment invites it. Furniture can turn into a weapon, and to throw an object at the right moment can buy space for a smooth exit. The guns hit hard, ammo is rare, and swapping between fists, pipes, and pistols gives every encounter a small arc like an Indiana Jones fight scene. Early access doesn't feel thin, with a substantial first episode that shows the shape of the whole, and the inclusion of a level editor with Steam Workshop support signals a community that can extend the life of this delightful sandbox. The result is a noir shooter that marries sneaking, scrapping, and shooting without losing its clarity. Built by a micro team that knows exactly which freedoms make a fight feel personal and which limits keep the tension high. If you want an indie FPS that rewards planning and makes every cool moment feel earned, this one's your jam.
Number 2, Metal Eden.
This one opens like every other cyberpunk power fantasy. You'll wake up armed, pissed, and with an unreasonable amount of glowy stuff sticking out of your spine. But it only takes a few steps to realize the devs built this one for motion junkies. Rycon, the studio behind Ruiner, threw out the overhead view and shoves you face first into the chaos, where parkour and marksmanship share the same LED-ridden oxygen tank. You play Asuka, a hyper unit with the body of a soldier and the discipline of a skateboarder, sprinting through the stacked city of Mobius like you own the place. Every wall, rail, and ceiling panel is fair game, and the faster you move, the safer you're going to be. The central idea is the core rip, a mechanic that lets you snatch an enemy's energy core mid-fight and decide whether to throw it, absorb it, or hoard it like a glowing lunchbox of violence. That single trick reshapes the pace. Healing and firepower become one currency, forcing you to keep pressure instead of hiding. The design pushes a simple message: don't stop moving, and the game rewards you for obeying it. Weapons will swap instantly, melee is brutal, and the soundtrack sounds like a whole-ass factory screaming in key. It's published by Deep Silver, but built by a small crew, so it keeps that indie sharpness. Handcrafted maps, concise missions, and systems that never waste your time explaining what your reflexes already know. The joy of Metal Eden is how every system feeds that reckless forward drive. Movement is survival, and when you chain a wall run into a core rip and land mid-reload, the game feels like it's laughing with you, not at you. Miss a jump and you're fertilizer, nail it and you look like you got a PhD in badassery. The art keeps readability high with bold lighting and crisp silhouettes, and the city's metallic sprawl sells the illusion that every corridor is one bad landing away from collapse. Health comes from aggression, and the only cover that matters is the next wall you can glide along. It's as polished as it is mean, and when it all clicks, Metal Eden is a damn good time. Number 3, I Am Your Beast. What we have here plays like a mixtape of 1980s paranoia, 1990s bloodshed, and one man's midlife crisis finally getting the budget it deserves. Your ex-special forces, betrayed by the people who used to send you on missions, and your retirement plan now involves weaponizing your muscle memory. Game dev's strange scaffold keeps the scope tight. Each level is a self-contained murder diorama built for speed and the hope that you'll look cool while killing everything. You have with you only a stopwatch, a target list, and a protagonist whose internal monologue sounds like he's narrating the last few pages of his diary. You will dash, throw, and blast your way through winter wash facilities in bursts of 20 to 30 seconds, like someone put Superhot, Hotline Miami, and an entire Cold War revenge fantasy in a blender and made a so hot it's cold smoothie. The game doesn't care if you play clean or reckless, it just wants you to go for it. Enemies go down fast, but so do you, which turns every attempt into a rebound between your reflexes and your patience, and patience usually loses. What makes it slap is how cleanly everything connects. Your movements are theatrical, every slide and takedown feeding that inner John Wick you swore you didn't have. Weapons feel heavy, but disposable. The goal isn't stockpiling ammo, it's improvising new ways to make tomorrow's therapy session even longer. Visuals flash with comic book saturation, and soundtrack alternates between military drums and bass lines from the darkest of industrial music. There's humor baked into the brutality, and your character mutters philosophical one-liners mid-massacre as if he read Sun Tzu once and decided he was qualified to start a podcast. Each mission ends before it overstays its welcome, sending you back to plan your next round of cathartic property damage. It's the kind of design only an indie studio would dare, confident and way too stylish to talk about itself. I Am Your Beast proves that vengeance doesn't need a AAA budget, just a sharp idea and a man who refuses to use the door when the window's available and faster. Up next at number 4, PIGFACE. PIGFACE throws you into a grimy, neo-noir sandbox where a contract killer named Exit wakes up half dead and fully aware of the explosive lodged in her head. Missions here are basically immoral favors, each map a compact playground full of opportunity and myopic drug addicts. You will pick approach lines, scouting cameras, cutting power, stacking distractions, or walking straight through the front door with a shotgun to fully display your personality problem. Guns thump with a heavy recoil and sensible spread. Melee combat is ugly yet fast, and the toolkit lets you experiment. Lure a guard with a thrown bottle, plant a mine under the only exit, then sneak away through a crawl space like the rowdy little piglet you are. The masked system is the hook here, nudging playstyles without drowning you in math. A different mask reshapes how you trade risk for speed, how loud you can afford to be, and how quickly you can recover from a plan that doesn't plan so well. The tone lands between crime thriller and Rust Belt nightmare, filtered through fluorescent sulfuric colors and cheap wood paneling, very Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque. The fun is in how permission to escalate sits in your pocket from the very first step. Start cautious and mark your targets, and you'll feel clever when the safe cracks. Combat never bloats into bullet sponges, and the shooting has a visceral, personal feel to it. The gameplay loop is a pleasant one, and each successful contract buys gear that opens new approaches, and each failure teaches a route that wiser pig-faced psychopaths may avoid. Though there is a dark humor in the realization that your stealth build keeps leaving crater-shaped evidence throughout the world. It's indie where it counts, focused on player choice, short objectives, and a tone that creates stories with gameplay alone. If you're craving for an unsettling, macabre murder sim, this one's the pig's knuckle, whatever that means. Number 5 is Witchfire. This game casts you as a church-sanctioned hunter with a very flexible definition of mercy, sent to clear blighted strongholds that never got the memo about staying dead. Dev team, the astronauts, have a tight little gameplay loop here. You enter a zone, gather essence, and poke about into risky corners for rare materials, then extract before greed turns heroism into folly. Firearms discharge with antique authority, and pair with fast, rechargeable rights that fold into your shooting flow. flow. One moment you'll be lining up a measured shot, and the next you're priming a sigil so that the reload becomes an effective light show. Dodges and short reposition moves keep you alive, and the builds revolve around items with plain language effects, like relics, rings, and fetishes that tilt you towards precision, aggression, or survivability. Enemies telegraph just enough to reward poise over button mashing, and elite variants will insist that you pay attention. The world looks properly cursed. Stormed ruins, whispering forests, and fortifications that feel abandoned by both engineers and gods alike. And the writing delivers the lore with a straight face while you do brutal things with blessed hardware. Your abilities are short cooldown tools that you weave between shots, so mastery is about timing rather than menu glazing. Zones behave like hunting grounds. Bank early for safety or press deeper for shinier toys, and accept that one more chest could be your famous last words. The Webgrave era of updates added a new region and weapons that change how you approach a fight, including a wall-punching Oracle rifle and a Nemesis lever action, plus a reworked workshop and stat spread that push build differentiation. Roadmap posts are candid about what is next and when, and the studio's target for 1.0 sits a little bit down the road, but that's fine because the current early access already delivers a full meal if you enjoy errands with flintlocks and excellent recoil. It is brilliant in the way it trims everything that does not feed the loop, so if you prefer a shooter that respects your time and your aim, consider this a formal invitation to the parish. Number 6. Void Bastards. This game strands you in the Sargasso Nebula with a grumpy ship AI and a to-do list that reads like an office supply order from hell. You pick a convict who picks through corridors for parts while picky residents pick at your patience. An interesting element is how much planning you do before the first shot. Every derelict ship contains hazards, power layouts, and enemy types, so you choose where to breach, which doors to lock, and whether the oxygen timer gives you enough wiggle room to just check one more room. Spoiler, it rarely does. Shooting is punchy, but the strategy layer keeps your head busy, grabbing fuel for the star map, food for the meat suit, and ammo for your future self. Scrap becomes gadgets at the workbench, gene quirks change how each inmate handles trouble, and death simply swaps in the next unfortunate soul with a fresh set of perks and problems. The whole thing looks like a living comic, half-tone shading, bold outlines, and onomatopoeias that pop when guns do, and the writing is dry as it is snarky. It's interesting how choices echo between ships. Slap on duct tape today, and you might limp through an ambush later. Conserve ammo now, and tomorrow's boarding gets a whole lot more manageable. Power stations let you reroute juice, security hubs tame turrets and cameras, and medical bays tempt you into detours you might regret when the O2 runs thin. Enemy rosters mix pests, brutes, and robotic surprises, so loadouts shift. Basic pistol for precision, a shotgun for panic, and oddball tools for other mischief. Progression is lovely. Blueprints open new toys, upgrades stack in sensible ways, and the sector map keeps you weighing speedy routes against lucrative ones. And when a run implodes, as runs love to do, the next prisoner steps in with a different genotype and the same questionable life choices, so variety arrives without any watering of a skill tree. It's brisk and wonderfully stingy. You're always one snack pack short, one bullet shy, and one corridor too curious. For gamers who like to laugh at chaos and run it back when it swallows you up, this is your perfect vessel. Number 7. Hole. This is what happens when a single-player extraction shooter trims all that annoying fat and challenges you to survive on muscle discipline alone. The game gets straight to the action. Find the floating microwave, jump into the void, and drop into a compact arena where everything wants you dead. The format aims for speediness. Stages are bite-sized, enemies never stop arriving, and there's no story beat to stall your momentum. You scrounge ammo and attachments, chase a few high-value targets, and then decide whether to press your luck or bolt for the microwave exit with everything you've scraped together. The gunplay is intentionally scrappy. Weapons can jam at the worst possible time, and you'll be fixing it while reciting colorful language. 4 guns, 3 stages, 0 fluff. The appeal here is clarity. The world map is simple, and the difference between a tidy haul and a fiasco is often one greedy detour. If you've got 10 minutes before work or 30 minutes before bed, it's calibrated to give you a whole arc. Gear up, dip in, and extract without the usual chores. Oh, and it's only $5, so thank me later. Number 8. Echo Point Nova. You are injected into a bright, sprawling world and given a ridiculous traversal kit, including double and triple jumps, a grappling line that reels you to distant ledges, and a hoverboard that turns cliffs into X Games ramps. The shooting in and of itself is a good time, but the real goose meat is how you stitch movement to marksmanship. Wall ride into a swing, pop a headshot mid-arc, and then surf away like you aren't the poop's nipple. It's fully playable solo or with up to 4 players online, and the game wastes little time unlocking the toys you need to feel acrobatic as a cybernetic spider monkey. The campaign unfolds across open regions dotted with enemy camps, platforming challenges, weapon caches, and boss encounters the size of buildings. Combat delivers clearly even while you're upside down, and weapon variety encourages style swapping. Precision rifles for distance, boomsticks for grill work, and explosives where subtlety can take a hike. Echo Point Nova understands that 10 seconds of perfect flow is why you showed up, so maps are built with sight lines, rails, and switchbacks that reward momentum as much as bravery. If you can see a route, odds are good that you can chain it. This is not a corridor shooter. It's an open world movement playground that still respects direction, feeding you objectives while letting you improvise how to reach them. A recent free expansion called Under the Clouds even adds a second land-based world with forests, rivers, caves, and a day-night cycle, and new hoverboard tricks like underwater riding and surfing, which is exactly the kind of sentence you can only say about a game that trusts its mechanics. The co-op turns stun shots into group projects, and the progression loop is simple and sweet. Find better guns, slot attachments, upgrade mobility, and then push deeper for bigger set pieces. Above all, Echo Point Nova nails the feeling of adaptability at velocity. You don't stop to plan, you plan while moving, and the world is laid out to reward that mindset. It's indie at heart, developed and published by Greylock, and it keeps getting richer through updates and never buries you in chores. If your happy place is a shooter that lets you chain a grapple into a hoverboard sprint into a mid-air reload, this is the one to install and lose yourself in right away. Number 9. Project Silverfish. What this is an early access immersive sim built by solo developer Cyrus Pendrake, and it treats the exclusion zone as a restless puzzle. Contracts post to your clipboard, each promising scrap, keys, and artifacts if you can reach them and still find the road home. You pick an operative from distinct pre-made kits, or roll your own, and step out knowing the only GPS is your memory. Clues live on scuffed signage, keypad scribbles, and throwaway notes that you'll copy into a journal like it's 2007 again. Firearms feel impactful with a tangible report. You'll listen for generators, watch for heat simmers that signal danger, and mark places to revisit when you have more inventory space or your courage comes back round again. Enemy factions will fight each other as well, leading situations where you can just kind of kick back with a bucket of popcorn and then go in to clean up after. The stealth is more than a crouch toggle. Darkness trims enemy vision, and a clean takedown solves arguments before they start. You've got relatively small maps with layouts you'll learn the old-fashioned way, that is, getting lost repeatedly, and the economy ties into exploration. Scrap turns into upgrades, blueprints into equipment or weapon attachments, and keys into shortcuts that can expedite later runs. I don't usually go for the whole furry theme, but Project Silverfish is a damn good time, and considering it's being developed by one person, I think it deserves much more praise and attention than what it has. Give it a look. Check it out. Number 10. Void Breaker. A supervisory intelligence assembles combat laboratories and studies your performance within them. Voidbreaker treats each incursion as a timed experiment. You start with a plain rifle and reshape it at the ever-important workbench that matters just as much as your aim. Movement favors speed with sharp acceleration, firm air control, and instant swaps. Survival is gained from maintaining a route through threats as opposed to seeking cover, and gunfire erupts with brilliant effects and short kill times. Yet the truly interesting bit comes from the build system. Parts alter behavior at a deep level. Barrels redefine projectile rules, receivers change cadence, and payload modules add chain, heat, or pierce, while alternate fires flip a weapon's roll mid-fight. Each build is a hypothesis that you'll test under pressure. Rooms respond to that pressure as environments are highly destructible, with sightlines that open as walls shed materials. The loop stays legible. Fight, adjust, press on. Between attempts, you return to the bench to revise your instruments of destruction. It is fast and confidently focused on experimentation under fire. The satisfaction comes from watching the idea of a gun turn into a realized plan that carries you through. So build with intent, move with purpose, and don't let that bastard AI keep you down.